So last fall, you had a chance to go to Mankato State and deliver a paper on a panel. And I thought maybe you could just tell us a little bit like how that paper came to be and what the experience was like on the panel.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, my paper I wrote for a sociology class. I believe that one was political sociology for the paper, and my paper regarded analyzing the pro-choice and pro-life movement through different major events, with more of a focus on, looking at the pro-choice movement and seeing, ultimately theorizing how they've been unsuccessful throughout the years, and looking at the different tactics for each movement, and just kind of doing a lot of comparing and contrasting between the two to ultimately come to my own conclusion about how they should go about the next generation movement, and this was even pre the decision to remove Roe v. Wade. So I theorized on that in the paper as well. And then it kind of came to be, which was interesting to see come in real life. But yeah, that was a little bit about the paper. As far as the actual experience, I was pretty nervous going into it. I didn't know quite what to expect, but some words of encouragement from Professor Fillion here really helped me out. What sticks with me the most is you kept telling me you belong here. I want to ask you to do this if you weren't capable, if I didn't think you were capable, or it was a good paper. So that definitely helped me get some confidence within myself, and of course, just practice too. What I did for my presentation was I put together a document with, my main talking points throughout the paper. And I brought it with me to the conference, to the panel. And I had practiced it enough times where I had a lot of sections kind of memorized, but I also kind of read off of it a little bit. A lot of other panelists did have visuals, which I thought was super helpful. Since this was my first time doing it, I didn't prepare a visual. I just wasn't exactly sure what to expect. So I just did it how I presented it in the class for the paper. But that's something I definitely would encourage anyone who is going to present, is to have alongside a visual or some sort of PowerPoint, because it can be really engaging for the audience as well. But I had an audience of around like 5 people, so it wasn't super, nerve-wracking or anything. It wasn't like a huge crowd. And I presented, and there was like 10 minutes for Q&A, which was honestly more conversational based, like people put in their inputs, ask questions, but it wasn't super, like, I didn't feel very nervous about the questions at all. It was, everyone kind of was just chiming in on their thoughts and inputs, which I thought was helpful and very interesting. But yeah, that's a little bit about, I guess, the experience. I don't know if you wanted me to cover anything else about that.
No, I thought you're right. You did present the paper at the end of the class in, I think it was fall 22, if I remember correctly, or spring of 22. And I think that helped you get ready for the panel presentation, because you were nervous, but I think you would have been even more nervous if you had never presented it. But I was really impressed with the reaction of the audience, because the audience was comprised mostly of other professors. And there was one other alumnus of St. Cloud State who was taking the master's program down at Mankato State also, and she was really impressed with your paper, and she was also asking, I thought, pretty insightful questions. So I think it was a dialogue. It was a really rich dialogue, I think, because their reaction to your paper was really very, very favorable, and they were really impressed with the quality of it, and also the quality of the presentation. Yeah, I mean, I think that really helps you, going forward, because what are you planning to do when you graduate?
Well, I'm not exactly sure quite yet. I did just finish an internship in human resource, actually, talent acquisition. So, I mean, in transferable skills, or just in general, this presentation, just kind of helped me gain more confidence in my public speaking ability, in
Absolutely.
general, just in myself and my capability. And, even if I'm not doing a career that's, I can have sociology in all of my careers, no matter what I'm doing. I want to consider myself a sociologist. But even if it's not, it was still really cool to see I do highly recommend, if you are going to the panel, to watch the other panelists as well, because it was super cool and interesting to see all the other unique ideas and the things people are doing within sociology.
I think it's really good for students to see how other students from other universities are delivering papers and how they're doing research in sociology.
Mhm.
And it's good for you to see that, your work is on a similar level as theirs.
Mhm.
And that gives you more confidence. I think, when you go out, when you graduate with that degree, that, yeah, the work I'm doing is the same quality as these students from University of Minnesota, Macalester, and the like. So, and I like the way you put it, that kind of transferable skill, because I know that you're thinking about maybe getting work after college, maybe in an NGO, or
Mhm.
maybe doing research, or maybe even going on to do a graduate degree. And in all of those career paths are ones that require public speaking skills and the ability to do research, the ability to present research, and the ability to write coherent research papers.
Absolutely.
And all of that, I think you got out of that class. And so I think that, I think for you, that was a really important moment in terms of your development as a student, because it wasn't just something that it wasn't just something you were experiencing in a moment that had value, but it's going to have value, like you said, for the long term.
I agree. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. It was, yeah, good
Yeah.
experience. I'm really happy I did it. I was proud of myself, and it was
Yeah.
definitely a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you, this semester, I actually used your paper as a template for the capstone class, because I was teaching the capstone class this semester. So
Oh,
I used
really?
your paper as a template for how to write a research paper that does comparative analysis and case study analysis.
The
And
one that I presented at the conference? Or,
yes, that
yeah.
one. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
great. That's great to hear.
Yeah, yeah, no, and the students found it very helpful. I just walked them
Sure.
through each step of the paper, which is what we did in the class, and I just showed them how what you were doing in that paper is what you should be doing in any research paper, really. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it helped you and helped me in this class.
I'm glad
So
it was helpful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I know you're going to graduate this week, and or rather next week.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts or words of advice for future sociology students?
I definitely encourage any sociology students that Professor Fillion recommends you to do the conference, just to do it. I know it
Mhm.
can seem pretty intimidating, but like we've discussed all today, I don't want to reiterate everything, but it is a really good experience, and it will help. And it's something great to put on your resume or CV too. It's
Absolutely.
a really great thing to be able to talk about in interviews, to set yourself apart from other candidates. So I definitely recommend that, and just, being confident in yourself.
Yeah, well, you've definitely developed that over the years, from the first time I met you as a freshman to the person you are now. You've definitely grown a lot intellectually, and
Mhm.
are, I think, really ready to move on to the next step in your life.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.